we go through. There you go. Yeah. So, yeah. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining our year of health and wellbeing celebration event. As we just said, some familiar faces in the chat. So in the call, it's really good to see you guys. I'm Fraser Ford. I'm the workforce manager at Energize Me. Energize Me are the physical activity partnership for Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. So we tackle the things that prevent people from being active and to prevent active lifestyles. So as part of the year of health and wellbeing, Energize Me delivered a few workshops called Support to be Active workshops. So essentially those workshops are all about people helping people to become more physically active, helping you guys within your workspaces to become more physically active and to take some of those learnings from those sessions back to your workplaces. Some of those things that we spoke about, I'm going to go over them briefly. I'm conscious it could be repetition for most people in the call who have joined those sessions previously, but good to recap. So we looked at what is physical activity. So you've obviously got your active sport to the right of your screen there, which is your organised sport and your informal sport. But you've also got things like your active living, active travel, so traveling to and from work, for example, and active recreation, like taking your dog for a walk. And they are all forms of physical activity that sometimes, get overlooked a little bit, but they are all forms of physical activity. It's not just your traditional sport that is a form of physical activity. So we looked at how much physical activity we should be doing. So you've obviously got your 150 minutes of physical activity, moderate intensity that we look at. So you're walking, you're gentle swimming. It could be going for a cycle, for example. Or it could be vigorous activity. So you've got 75 minutes of it could be going for a run, or it could be playing sport. And that's obviously 150 minutes or 75 minutes per week. But in addition to that, you've also got your building strength, which is really, really important. So that could be going to the gym, that could be going to yoga or going to Pilates, or it could be as simple as carrying heavy shopping bags, which obviously builds your strength. You've also got your minimizing sedentary time. So we know that sedentary time, we're sedentary throughout the working day, for example. So breaking up those periods of inactivity is a really important part of being physically active. And then you've also got improving your balance as well, a couple of days a week. So they are all, forms, how physical activity that we should be taking part in per week or thinking about per week. We also looked at, we showed some rather concerning data around physical inactivity across the county and how many people were physically inactive across Hampshire and Isle of Wight, which is, a little bit concerning. And I think it just highlights that, there are a proportion of the population who are physically inactive. And that's why it's really, really important for us to be spreading the word about this. We also looked at the links to I guess regular physical activity, as we know, can reduce health risks. So you can see some of some things on the screen there. So we've got around bone fractures, breast cancer, coronary heart disease, and stroke, depression, which is all things that physical activity can help reduce. So regular physical activity can help reduce. And then you've also got your mental health as well. So we know that physical activity improves your sleep, it improves your self-confidence, improves your mood. It also reduces stress, amongst other things as well. So all really, really important for your mental health as well. And then obviously reduces the chance of any long-term health conditions as well. We gave you some top tips of how to be more physically active. So some examples on the screen there. So it could be choosing something you enjoy. It could be making small goals and making a plan. It could be making small changes to your life. It could be getting outdoors as often as you can. There's various different things that contribute towards you being more physically active. Obviously, buddying up as well definitely helps. So yeah, there's some top tips of how to be more physically active. And then it's also really important as well, as we've already mentioned, to reduce that sedentary time. So after just 20 minutes of sitting, it can start to affect your organs, your blood, your muscles, your bones, your gut, and your mental sharpness as well. Um, yeah, Amy and I, my colleague Amy and I were speaking to someone recently who said that it's almost like plaque build up within your veins if you sit down, and it starts to build up really, really quickly, as we said, as often as 20 minutes it starts to build up. So yeah, really important to reduce sedentary time as well as being more physically active. And we can't do it on our own. We need you guys to help us to spread the word about physical activity, to help people to become more physically active. And we need you to be bold leaders in this space. So it's not only supporting yourself to be physically active, but it's also supporting your loved ones to be physically active. It's supporting other people at work to be physically active, to reduce sedentary time, for example. So yeah, we need your help as bold leaders. We need you to be bold leaders to help us in this space to encourage more people to be physically active. So we've seen some amazing stories since delivering some of these workshops. And yeah, I guess today is all about celebrating some of the amazing things that people have been doing over the past 6 months or so. So yeah, today we're going to hear from various different people about the journeys that they've had over the last little while. We're going to hear some inspiring stories, I guess, about people's journeys. I mean, they're going to be people from real workplaces across Hampshire and Isle of Wight. So hopefully that's nice and relatable for you guys. We're going to be hearing what's worked, what hasn't worked, which is sometimes equally as important as knowing what has worked. And they're hopefully going to give you some recommendations for yeah, things that you can do within your workplace and to help people to become more physically active. So we're going to be hearing from Connor Morley. So Connor is a health and wellbeing coach at Meon Health Practice. We're also going to be hearing from Nikki Barker from the clinical team at Havant School nursing team. We're going to be hearing from Amy, who's a senior travel planner at Hampshire County Council, who's going to give us an introduction into mode shift stars, which is really interesting. And then we're also going to be hearing from Debbie. So Debbie is part of the Energize Me team, and she's going to be sharing some resources that you could use and letting you know where you could find those resources in relation to physical activity. So yes, we're really looking forward to celebrating some of the great stories that we're about to hear. And I'm going to hand over to Connor, who is going to kick us off. Connor, are you there?
Morning, everyone, and thank you, Fraser, for that introduction. I don't have any slides, so I'm just going to be talking, and I'm very aware that I think I've got about 10 minutes today, so I'm just going to go through and obviously celebrate some of the aspects here at Meon that we've managed to achieve over the last year or so. It's not until you have these situations that you actually reflect and realise all the things that you have done, so I'm going to try and keep this within 10 minutes, and I will try to follow this with some aspects that didn't go well. As much as the positives are important, it's also useful to understand some things that didn't quite go well, so we can all share from lessons to move forward. I am a health and wellbeing coach for Meon Health Practice. I lead a team of 3 of us over here at our PCN, and we do have 3 GP surgeries in Fareham, Whiteley and Titchfield. So that is Meon Health Practice. We have merged as one PCN, and so I do work across all 3 of the practices. I've been here for the last 2.5, nearly 3 years now, and had plenty of behaviour change conversations around physical activity. But the last year or so has been a really inspiring year where we've included not just patients but also staff in reducing sedentary behaviour and increasing physical activity. This has led, thank you for the support of Energize Me, to us to achieve active practice status, which helps reducing sedentary behaviour in staff and patients and increase physical activity in staff and patients. And the last core principle is to connect with a local physical activity provider. So these are things we've been trying to achieve over the last year. And in doing so, I've managed to lead a target training session. So for anyone who doesn't work in a GP practice, target sessions are carried out quarterly for GP practices to close for the afternoon to access further training. And thankfully, I was there to lead one of the sessions talking about why physical activity is so important for our health, and more importantly, working in GP practice, as we know, aren't always the least stressful environment. So actually trying to incorporate physical activity in the workplace, whether that's before, during, and after work, was some really important conversations that we had. This followed on to actually talk about a staff walk, which we have just completed 2 weeks ago. There was about 35 of our staff, with a few plus ones from GPs to nurses to reception team to HCAs. It was a really good morning. We actually managed to walk 7K in total, a round trip through Titchfield Canal, if anyone knows it. And it was a fantastic morning and a fantastic walk at 9:30 in the morning. And the rain did held up. So we've just recently achieved that together as well. And we're hoping to do this as an annual tradition, at least one time, once a year. If we can do it more, that would be fantastic. But I'm not going to try push too hard. But we've all agreed we're going to do it at least once a year to achieve our active practice status. We haven't officially applied for it just yet, but we are in the works of doing so. Some other bits that we've done as well that included both staff and patients was we celebrated the Health Coach Week, National Health Coach Week. This was in September last year, so we're just coming up to our next date. Which will be in the upcoming weeks. So the approach that I took with this was setting a task from Monday to Friday. So we celebrated the whole week, and the tasks were, for example, walking 15 minutes before, during, or after work. There was Stretch Thursday, which every hour on the hour can we stand up for 1 to 2 minutes to break up sedentary time. On the Friday, it was setting ourselves an achievable goal, and I believe on the Wednesday it was can we bring in a whole food from home. So this very light-hearted, fun way celebrated Health Coach Week, but also got all of the staff thinking about their own health, which was fantastic. And the more tasks you completed, the more times you put yourself into a raffle, and the winner actually won a 2-week HelloFresh voucher as well. So yeah, it was good fun all round. We actually had a little bit of competition across the surgeries. All clinicians got involved, all non-clinical staff got involved, which was fantastic. And for our patients, we did the same approach, but we actually have 3 seated exercise sessions that we run a week, and 3 walking groups a week, and a Pilates group that we run each and every week for our patients. And any patient that attended one of these also got their name in a raffle, and they also won a 2-week HelloFresh voucher as well. So it was a good fun all round. We've learnt a lot from this. We took some feedback that we've taken on, for example, around the food aspect. We said about bringing in something from home. The reason why I've said whole food now is because at the time we did say, can you just bring something prepared from home to think about the unprocessed nature of our food. But we gathered that a few more specifics would be better. Maybe can you bring in 1 of your 5 a day or 2 of your 5 a day, something light-hearted that involves everyone. So that's some good feedback we received from that. As I've just mentioned, around Pilates that we do for our patients, we also do this for our staff. So every Wednesday we have a staff Pilates in our actual GP practice. It starts at 6:30 when the GP practice closed. We get anywhere from about 5 to 12 people most weeks, and that's a nice light-hearted way to include some activity after our busy and stressful days in PCNs and GP practices. We've had some really good feedback on that as well. To sort of coincide a lot of this together, our communications lead has been in touch with us, and we actually send out a newsletter each and every month to all staff, which is equals to about 150 members of staff. And we have a newsletter for patients. We currently have about 3,500 patients signed up to our newsletter, and each and every month we try to incorporate a different topic. Obviously, I've been talking quite highly about stress, and so we've been talking about movement and how that can relate to the reduction of stress as well. So that gets sent out and circulated to staff and patients, and we've had some really nice feedback off some of that as well. And I'm just scrolling down on some of my notes. That's just a few things that obviously we've been trying to achieve here at Meal and Health Practice, and had some good success. As well as our weekly groups that we complete for our patients. And the last one was we actually had a program at the start of the year for our frequent attenders in the practice. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this was because one of the sessions was around movement, and the overall goal of us creating this program was to support the most frequent attenders in the practice to reduce their reliance on primary care. And we saw some really impactful results. Patients felt heard, they felt like they could empower themselves to change some of their behaviours. Some of the other topics were around making it happen in the real world. So talking about habit stacking tools, talking about nutrition, and talking about some next steps for them as well. But we also had a whole category around movement and their health, how this can be incorporated in realistic ways without being overbearing and without doing it in a way that we don't enjoy. Like with most things, if we don't enjoy them, we won't stick with them. So that was completed at the start of the year as well, which was something that we found plenty of success from. So what's next? So some of the things we've got coming up, we're going to be attending a local park run. Again, we're going to be incorporating staff and patients. So we're going to have staff volunteer at our local park run in Fareham. So they can run if they'd like to, but I think a lot of our staff are going to volunteer. So that'll be marshalling, handing out the timing tickets. It was part of our active practice nature. We're also going to be trying to encourage some of our patients to attend this as well. So we've booked that in for October the 11th in Fareham. So that should be good fun all round. We've already had a fair few staff say that they're going to attend, which is great. We're also in the midst of trialing standing waiting positions for patients in our waiting area in one of our GP practices. So it's just going to be a 1-by-1 sort of square, and by the square it will have a sign saying this is a standing waiting position. So again, breaking up sedentary time for patients with some literature on the walls so they can understand why this is beneficial for their health. Again, we're just trying it in one practice because we don't want to do it in every practice and create negative notions around this. So we're going to trial it in one and see how it unfolds in the upcoming months. Also, thank you for energizing me for helping us with this, but we're also looking at each of our GP surgeries. We're going to have a 10 to 15 minute walking route maps that you can do from each of our surgeries. So if patients attend a appointment early, they can go do a 10-15 minute walk and come back. If our staff have finished their eating side of things early, they can then also do a 10-15 minute walk on their lunch breaks, but they also know a route they can do which is close to the practice. So that's some of the things we're trying to achieve going forward as well. But just to finish, I think I'm not sure how much I've done, but just to wrap it up, I've got a few things. What hasn't worked? So with all aspects of engagement, whether it's with patients, whether it's staff, we always have challenges with engagement. So sometimes we find that talking about outcomes and benefits, but also having certain incentives can be a way that incorporates people. You know, when people feel like they will get something out of it as well, is something we've seen that actually can increase engagement. Doesn't mean to say we have to bribe people every time to increase physical activity, but sometimes when there's fun ways of incorporating people, it just makes it tying together quite well. And that's why we found something like a Hello Fresh voucher. It was something that everybody could use, and it was also something that incorporated some sort of health benefits as well, which was fantastic. What we also find is there's a sort of imagine we've got a y-axis of challenge and an x-axis of rapport. So depending on your rapport with people depends sometimes how much you can push. You know, I'm in a place where I've been in the practice for nearly 3 years. I know pretty much all the staff, so sometimes I can be a bit more direct, a little bit more light-hearted, and asking people to incorporate themselves in things. But with people who I don't know, I would take a different approach. I'd be a little bit more light-hearted, wouldn't be as direct. So that's something that we found works quite well, that sort of challenge versus rapport. Now that's the same with patients as well, massively with patients. You know, the better your rapport is, the more you can sort of ask and push in a nice and friendly way. So that's just some tips within your approaches to communication. And all feedback is good feedback, whether we had people moaning, whether we had people not thinking something was useful, whether we thought people couldn't do it. We've actually understood that, for example, you know, with our staff walk, we found that was inclusive to all, but you're still not going to have everyone be happy. So in these situations, it's just trying to manage what you can manage. You know, you won't be able to control every factor. You can't always keep everybody happy, but it's just understanding what you can do versus what you can't do and just being happy with that. And the last thing is within some of the things, it's just having an outcome. Sometimes we've thought about things that are really good on paper, but it's actually what are we trying to achieve. So sometimes taking that one step backwards to take two steps forwards has been really beneficial for us just to understand what are we trying to achieve? How are we trying to help staff and patients increase their physical activity and overall well-being as well? So I think that is everything, Fraser. I'm not sure how much time I've used, whether I've gone under or over, and appreciate I may have spoken a little bit too fast through that. I have put my name in the chat. I will also put my email in the chat as well if anyone wants to reach out and wants me to highlight or talk about a few more details that I've just spoke about in their own time as well. More than happy to do that. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks so much, Connor. That's brilliant, and there's so much there for people to take from that, and some ideas that people could put into implement within their own worlds of work as well, which is absolutely brilliant. Does anyone have any questions for Connor? We might have a couple of minutes for any immediate questions if anybody had any. We might circle back at the end as well if we have a bit of time, or as Connor said, he's popped his email address in the chat there for people to get in contact. John, yeah, go for it.
Oh, hi. Thank you for that, Connor. It's really useful. I'm actually a health and wellbeing coach as well at Rural West PCN, so kind of Tadley, Kingsclear, Overton.
Mhm.
Some of the stuff you mentioned we're trying to do as well, but it's really good to hear. I think you're a little bit further down the line than what we are. I've been in the role about 8 or 9 months, so yeah, a lot of the stuff you mentioned has given me kind of food for thought as well. One of the questions I had was around you mentioned about doing walking groups and
Mhm.
kind of a Pilates group for patients.
Mhm.
I'm really interested in setting up a walking group for us, but I worry about kind of risk assessments, insurance, and that side of things. How did you kind of set that up?
So we have basically set this up with a charitable organisation called Community First, and they basically have a web page called Walking for Health, and they've got loads and loads of walks throughout the weeks and months in the local area. So local to us, they've got walks in Leon Solent, Stubbington, Porchester, Fareham, Whiteley, just to name a few. And they've got a whole list of walks, and they basically oversee the walks, and they have provided us walk leader training, which covers risk assessments. It covers all health and safety barriers. We still map out a walk and we do our own risk assessments. So it ties in with our own liability insurance. And I believe our liability insurance covers us up to 30 walkers for one walk leader. We typically have 1 to 2 walk leaders on most walks anyways, because it works with just having one at the front, one at the back, especially if people are going a little bit slower. But with all things, they take time. You know, one of our walks only has, I want to say, 2 to 5 people, but our Wednesday and Friday walks, for example, because of the route they hold and they're quite aesthetic, they're in nature, we can get anywhere up to about 14, 15 walkers, and it works really, really well. But just to sort of reiterate, Community First are the organisation that oversee the walks, and they are called Walking for Health, and they have provided the walk leader training for us to complete. Once we've done the walk leader training, then you're allowed to lead a walk. It's they don't teach you how to walk, but they teach you the health and safety parameters just so it covers all bases. And then our liability insurance ties in with that, so that covers that as well as our own risk assessments as well. So hopefully that answered a few questions. And we because we've got 3 GP practices, we've tried to have one each demographic, one in Whiteley, one in Fareham, one in Titchfield. Our Fareham demographic is a little tricky because we are practicing in quite a deprived area, so the route isn't that nice, putting it politely. The Wednesday and Friday routes have nature. They're fantastic. They go through the Titchfield Town Centre and they're really engaging. The nice thing about these walks, because they are publicised on Walking for Health, we don't just need our patients. We can accept anyone, which for us isn't an issue. We've had social prescribers from other practices come along just to see how they work, engage with the patient. So again, if anyone wants to reach out and join one of those walks, I'm more than happy for people to do that, to see how they work. Was there another question within that? Sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent.
No, that was really helpful actually. I've got another question just based on what you asked. Do you kind of gather patient information? How are you kind of reporting on this?
So yeah, we actually, there's I can't remember his name, but he works for Winchester City Council, and a gent called Callum. But we send stats to him, and we keep stats for ourselves. In terms of data and patient information, the only thing we do is take their name, number, and emergency contact details just to register that they're healthy for the walk. That is the only way we keep data. Other than that, when we pass data on, it's just a numerical figure with no initials, no patient information when we're discussing stats and things like that. We also, there is a web page called Rambler Walks, and that is another list with loads of different walks on there as well. And we find that a lot of our patients jump between the two, between Rambler Walks and Walking for Health as well.
That's brilliant.
Thank you
so
so much, chaps. Yeah, Connor, that's brilliant. And John, great question as well. Laura, sorry, I'm conscious you've got your hand up. In the interest of time, are you able to put your question in the chat just so that Connor can answer whilst we're in the next presentation? Is that all right?
Sure. Yeah.
Sorry,
sure.
thank you. Just
That's
conscious that
okay.
we want to hear from all of our guest speakers. Yeah, Connor, thank you so much. There's a lot there for us to for people to digest. I'm going to hand over to Nicola now. Nikki, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks,
Fraser. Thanks for inviting me along. Yes, I'm going to talk about our wellbeing at Fort Southwark. We're very lucky that we have beautiful surroundings up here. On the next slide, we've done a little video. So hopefully it'll work. If you're able to click onto the next slide. Yes.
I've made sure I've shared with sound, so fingers crossed. Here we go.
Thank you.
Let me know if you can't hear.
Oh no, there's no sound. Oh, I haven't got any sound.
Are you not able to hear it?
No.
Not able to. Oh no. Okay, bear with. Let me know if that's any better.
That's better.
Got it?
Thank you.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Cool.
And join us for an invigorating wellbeing walk at Fort Southwark. This is the home of the Havant School nursing team. We aim to complete a walk each day, and we'll walk in most weathers. We try to do 3 laps of the car park, which takes around 10 to 15 minutes and roughly 3,000 steps, also known as the Golden Mile. Walking is a great way of keeping active, and when working at the desk it's important to take time away from the screen, as UK health and safety laws state that we must make time for short breaks to prevent fatigue and reduce strain. We use this time to get to know each other, to talk about what we've planned for the weekend, or even what we're having for tea. It's a great bonding activity which strengthens our working relationship and makes us a close-knit team. The fort is home to 5 alpacas and a nanny goat, who we love to watch during the walks and see them follow the sun around the grassy areas of the car park. They're a serotonin booster. The fort is also an area of historic interest, as it was used during the Second World War and the D-Day planning. We're so incredibly lucky to have all this on our working doorstep, as we know other places may not be so picturesque, but it's important to get active during the working day, so why not start a wellbeing walk at your workplace today?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so we've, as school nurses, we've been doing the Daily Mile for several years, probably once it started in school. I'm going to say 2016, but actually it's keeping the momentum up of doing those walks. We're very keen to encourage other staff members, and it's now generated enthusiasm within health visiting, the immunisation team, our admin team, and we've got some new co-workers downstairs, and they've started to do the Daily Mile as well. So it's very positive being up here doing our Daily Mile. We've also upscaled it a little bit, and we've got some hand weights so that we can walk around and do some strength exercises as well, which really helps. again, our fort owner is amazing, and he sent us another walk, which is out in the. It literally is just across the road. It's a little longer, so it would have to be done alongside a lunch break or in a wellbeing session in a meeting. But obviously, we're on the top of nature here, and it is just amazing what we get to see, and sort of connect with nature for our wellbeing. I've put Yusuf Henry, yes. Each year, our Bright Away, which is the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Foundation, NHS Foundation Trust, their charity, they set up a 6-week walking challenge, usually starting in February, and it takes us through into spring. And what they ask for is a donation, a minimum donation of £5 into the Wellbeing Charity, groups of 8 set up. And we all have to walk as many miles as we can. And oh my gosh, it is amazing how much more we walk through that period of time, because we're all very competitive. And obviously, if we've got school nurses, IMS team and health visiting all being very competitive together, that walks us into spring beautifully. But yes, we were saying that we would really like that more regularly. So actually, after listening to Connor, maybe I ought to sort of facilitate that more locally for us to do. We have as well in the past played netball matches and rounders. The health visitors are all very tall as well, so we decided that rounders might be good. So unfortunately, the rounders match this year was postponed because it was through that very, very hot weather, and we didn't feel that it would have been wise to do it then. Alongside our activities, we do have in the office our healthy food options, because as nurses we are notorious for snacking. So to get to our snacks, we have a fruit basket or sort of any healthy options available. So we don't have to snack on biscuits. There's that other option. Speaking about sort of things in the past that haven't worked, we had a static cycle which was in our kitchen, which definitely did not work, because that was somebody on their own, essentially just cycling, and there was nowhere to bring it out in sort of a communal area, so that lived a very short life within the fort. We also, there's been some new research out about the benefits of drinking more water and reducing our stress hormone. So that is very much on our agenda of sort of the things that we talk about in the office. Yes, next slide, that's lovely, thank you, next slide. Very much what we will talk about in the office if things are, when we're having busy times, especially schools have just gone back, and it's like, right, make sure your water bottles are topped up. And this is always shared at our monthly meetings. So thank you so much, because team members now, they will say to me, right, we're going on a walk, we need to boost our productivity by 33%. So they've kind of got it off pat, really. So they're saying to me, so absolutely fine. I honestly don't mind them having 3 laps of the car park, because literally what it does, everyone comes back refreshed and ready to start again. We've got a lady in our team who likes stretching, she likes dance. So I do put this in our meeting and say that whilst I'm talking, if you do want to just have a stand up, one leg, and so they know what they're aiming for, they will do this as well, at a time that's appropriate. So really appreciate those slides, Fraser. Thank you for that. Another thing, going back to what we did try, the Michael Mosley Try One Thing, we did talk about that as well through the summer holidays. It was last year actually, but that was quite interesting. And what's picked up on that, standing on one leg, cleaning your teeth, for example. So we do try little things. Can't think what else we do. Walking Backwards. That's quite new because that's a book that's just been written by somebody, can't think of her name. Anyway, she talks about the benefits, especially the mental health benefits of walking backwards, improves your confidence, reduces anxiety. So I did try that on our walk yesterday and encouraged other team members if they wanted to try it. So it's all that sort of role modelling and getting used to doing things. So yes, so that's our little journey, and we've very much appreciated the session that you put on, Fraser and Amy. So thank you very much. You've really encouraged us.
Nikki, that is awesome. It's so great to hear that, some of the things that we've, spoken about in those meetings previously that you've taken away, you've, put into contact. Love the fact that you're testing your balance whilst you're brushing your teeth, or maybe whilst you're waiting for the kettle to boil in the office. So, absolutely amazing. And those productivity walks as well, absolutely brilliant. And hopefully something that everyone can take away from this if they haven't taken it away from the last meeting. And as we know, just a quick brisk walk. Obviously, as we said in those stats, increases productivity by 33%. So it's not just a physical benefit, but you've also got your benefit in relation to work as well, which is hopefully brilliant. Conscious of time, if anyone does have any questions for Nicola, if they wouldn't mind popping them in the chat, that would be amazing. And Nikki, hopefully you can answer those as they come in on the chat. Or are people able to drop you an email? If not, Nikki, is that all right?
Yeah, I'll put my email in. Yeah, lovely.
Amazing.
Thank
you so much. Thanks, Nikki. Going to hand over now to Amy. Are you there, Amy?
You're right.
Perfect. Over to you.
Thank you. Thanks very much for having me. So my name's Amy and I work for Hampshire County Council's travel planning team. I'd just like to tell you a little bit about some of the active and sustainable travel initiatives that we currently have available for workplaces and that are under development as well. Next slide, please. Thank you so much. So just a bit of background about us. Hampshire County Council's travel planning team has a really strong track record of promoting active and sustainable travel in school settings. We've done this through initiatives, campaigns, planning support, and that's all worked towards reducing solo car use, easing parking pressures, and just generally making walking and cycling more accessible for families. Obviously, you can see the link between this active and sustainable travel and increasing physical activity, and that's by embedding movement into daily routines. Now, what we're really hoping to do currently is expand that focus into workplaces as well, and we'd like to be just as useful for workplaces in encouraging and embracing sustainable and active travel as we have been in schools as well. So as I mentioned, I'll just tell you a little bit about what we've already got available and some of the things that are coming up. And also may not have time in this session, but I would really plead for ideas and suggestions as well from yourselves about what we can do to help you, because we are developing our offers as we speak. Next slide, please. Yeah. So we have available currently Mode Shift Stars for Business. Now, this is a national scheme and it helps workplaces to pull together a really solid travel plan. And a travel plan is essentially a set of actions that help an organisation increase walking, cycling, public transport use and reduce down that solo occupancy vehicle use as well. A really important thing about this platform is it's incredibly straightforward to use. It walks you through step by step for everything for creating a travel plan and keeping it live. So you're never really left wondering, oh, what do I do next? I don't know what the next section is. It really makes it easy for you. You can easily add initiatives to it, update things as they change and keep the momentum going with actually delivering initiatives that are acting upon your sort of aims and objectives of your travel plan as well. It's a very flexible system, and I think one thing that we found really useful is that because more than one person in an organisation can have access to it at a time, it really keeps the momentum going. So if somebody moves on, there's always somebody else there in the background to keep that going as well. And I think one of the key sort of selling points that has been for the organisations that have signed up so far is that you can achieve a nationally recognised accreditation for your efforts. So that goes all the way from an approved travel plan up to outstanding. So it's a great way to show off the work that you're doing to support active and sustainable travel and be recognised for your efforts as well. And it's not just about increasing active travel. There's lots of other benefits that you'll notice as well if you do have a sort of live and active travel planning document. You might notice things like lower CO2 emissions, healthier and happier staff, better use of your car park, and just a general boost to your corporate social responsibility and net zero goals as well. So really can be a really powerful tool to build in more physical activity into your workforce and see those other benefits as well from doing so. Next slide, please. And the good news is we are offering more Chip Stars at the moment completely free of charge. So we can do this because Hampshire County Council has already purchased a licence for the whole county. So any workplace that wants to get on board with this can start getting in touch with me and sign up completely free of charge. All you need really is someone within your organisation that has a little bit of time to get it set up. That's probably the bit that takes the longest, just that initial setup. And then after that, it's quite easy to keep things going. I'm on hand to offer support. Modshift themselves have a support email address as well, so we can help you get through that process. We currently have 3 hospital settings and 2 district councils signed up, and I can't tell you who it is yet because they haven't announced it yet, but one of the district councils has just achieved the first level of our first organisation within Hampshire to receive accreditation. So I can't wait to shout out and celebrate them, hopefully at the end of this month. So that's really exciting. I think something I'd love to point out about this is that a lot of organisations do already have travel plans, and actually every single one of the organisations that we've had signed up already has a travel plan, and they've chosen to move it onto this system and use this system to help them make it a live and active document. So I'd assumed when I started out on this that it might be those workplaces that were starting from scratch that would be this would appeal to the most, but in actual fact it's been workplaces that already have travel plans that have been the first to put their names forward. So it's great for both, but yeah, that was an unexpected win for me on that one. So if anybody's interested in signing up to Modshift Stars or just finding out more in the first instance, you can just email me and I will be able to set up a meeting and have a chat with you about that and see whether it's a good fit for your organisation. So that would be great. Next slide, please. So something we've got in development at the moment is the Commuter Challenge. So this is going to be a product created in-house by Hampshire County Council. And at the moment, it's just really shaping up to be a very simple and effective way to get staff thinking about how they travel to work. So the idea of this is to encourage active and sustainable travel, so more walking, cycling, car sharing, and reducing the solo car use. And the positive impacts of that are improved well-being and a positive impact on the environment as well. So the things that have been really important to me when I've been developing this is that it's free for workplaces and it's easy to deliver. And the reason that I kind of pitched those as my top 2 priorities was I wanted it to be as accessible as possible for as many organisations as possible. So that's what I've been trying to keep my focus on while I've been developing it. So it's a 4 to 5 week challenge. It's predominantly digital, and it can be run at any point in the year, whatever works best for your organisation. It's got lots of resources, planning tools, a couple of prize draws sprinkled in there, and it's designed to reach people, whether they're already active commuters or whether it's something that they're starting completely from scratch. And we've tried to kind of embed in their sort of behaviour change science and kind of really help people create new travel habits that stick. So that is hopefully going to be available towards the end of this year, coming into 2026. And if anybody is interested in that, again, drop me an email. I can add you to a little email list, and when that's up and running and ready to go, I can get in touch and see if it's something that you'd like to deliver in your workplace as well. And last slide, please, or second from last. Clean Air Day is an incredibly important celebration, and historically we've always created resources for schools for this. And this was our first year creating a sort of mini campaign for workplaces and community groups as well. Now, I got a little bit overexcited when I did this, and I literally jam-packed this webpage with so much information that I think it terrified anybody that looked at it. And that has been a really big lesson learned for me. And I've had some chats with our insights teams at Hampshire, and just lots of discussions about how I can make this better and more accessible for workplaces and community groups for 2026. So the whole point of this campaign is just to get people thinking about, there's obviously an active travel twist because I've worked for the travel planning team, but it's all about reducing the amount of carbon emissions that we're producing, walking more, cycling more, various bits and pieces like that, and either encouraging people to take action or simply to start those conversations and get some of the education side of why air quality is something that we should all be talking about and taking action on. So as I say, hopefully next year there will be a much more streamlined, much more accessible activity and campaign for workplaces and community groups to take part in, with lots of sort of easy downloadable resources and things. The page is still live, so if anybody wants to go on there and pinch some of the resources, please do, because there's so much on there. I got really went for it. But it'd be nice to even get some feedback of where people think that it would be easier or anything that I should focus on. I would really welcome that, because I want to make this as accessible as possible to yourselves. And last slide, please. So just to finish off, as I mentioned at the start of the presentation, the workplace side of engagement for our team is quite new. And as such, we're developing and we're slowly building up the offers that we have for workplaces. But the way that that's going to happen for the best for you and to make us a really valuable resource is if we have feedback from you and if you tell us the kind of ideas and suggestions of things that you want. And that will allow me to kind of feed that back into Hampshire County Council, see whether there are funding pots available that can support the requests from workplaces within Hampshire. If that desire and need is sort of identified, then it gives me more of an argument and a basis to ask for things. So that's kind of what I'm looking for from yourselves. Please do email me. And again, if there's any of the offers I've already mentioned, such as Motorshift Stars, such as a sort of nod when the commuter challenge is available, please do drop me an email and I can get in touch with you and they're up and running. Any questions?
Amazing. Thank you so much, Amy. Really appreciate that. And I'm sure you're not going to have a shortage of people getting in contact with you about some of that content, because that is, brilliant. Motorshift Stars looks awesome, doesn't it? So are you, Amy, you're right to pop your email address in the chat as well, just so people have got it and they can drop you a line if they do have any questions. Is that all right?
No problem. Thanks for having me speak.
Amazing. No worries at all. No, great. Thank you for coming and sharing all of that. Last 5 minutes then, I want to hand over to Debbie, who is, as I said, from our Energize Me team, and she's going to talk about some resources that are accessible for you guys to access right now. So Debbie, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Fraser. Morning, everybody. Thanks, everyone, for your presentations so far. They've shown some really fantastic examples of communicating about physical activity and the interventions that everybody's putting in place. Obviously, communicating about these things is a really important part of what we do. It helps give permission to employees, makes them feel genuinely encouraged to take up active practice within the workplace. It's a really good way to lead from the front, essentially, when you show leadership and you evidence that senior leaders are taking part in this initiative. It really does help others to get on board. And it's also a really a good way, and I know someone said feedback is always good, no matter whether it's good or bad. Like, it's a really good way to start that two-way conversation with employees in the workplace. So communication wraps around, I guess, everything that you guys are doing to help empower and engage employees to become more active and less sedentary in the workplace. We do have lots of resources available. I think a few people have mentioned some already. I am just going to share my screen. I will also make sure Fraser shares the link to all of these afterwards, so that you guys have got access to use them straight away. So let's have a little look. Right window. So what we'll do is, hopefully everyone can see my screen, we'll give you access to our SharePoint site where we host at the moment lots of posters. You can either use these yourselves, put them up around your workplaces, just give you an example of some of them, to help encourage and sort of nudge employees and that constant reminder around the workplace. There's lots of these available around taking the stairs, sedentary time, talking about why it's important to be active. You can either take these and use them, or just use them as inspiration to start creating your own in your own branding around your workplace. So please feel free to take these. Fraser will also share those in the chat for you. We've also got lots of information and resources on our own website. I can't get to the links, but if you just talk about active workplaces, do a little bit of a search. There's lots of different resources on our website. There's all of the rationale you might need for advocating for an active workplace, campaigns that you can use, and lots of behaviour change materials as well, which you can use there as well. I've also linked off to some other sites. So I'll share my screen. So we've got Sport England's workplace wellbeing kit there as well as Sustrans, which also do an active travel offer, although Amy has just generously come in and talked about what Hampshire County Council are going to be doing moving forward, so she might be a better port of call locally. On our website as well, we've got some links to quizzes that are quite fun and interesting. You can take these links and put them on your sites as well. So there's just some quick apps by the NHS about how are you, and also a sitting calculator, which is also a bit mortifying when you plug in how many hours you potentially sit a day, and might be a bit sobering for some people, but it's potentially good motivation for them to get moving. I just wanted to talk a bit about language as well. When we are communicating to people, whether you're in a communications team doing internal communications, or you are a leader with a team that you lead, when we're talking about physical activity and movement, you will already have people in your team that are active, and they won't need much encouragement to become more active. What we do as an organisation is really try and move people that are inactive to just do some activity. So it's from doing nothing to do a little bit. And what we know about talking to these people is that we need to talk about physical activity, movement, getting active, getting outside, and sort of just every minute counts. We don't really necessarily want to be talking about that gold standard of activity at that 150 minutes at this stage. We do want to talk about sort of doing that 5 minutes, building up to 10 minutes, building up to 15 minutes. We also want to talk about some of the shorter term benefits of movement. So I think Fraser mentioned at the beginning some of those more mental health benefits that people really can see almost immediately, that they're going to feel more alert, they're going to get an improved mood, sense of achievement. That can be achieved in a 10-minute walk. Those longer term sort of health benefits probably are going to be 2 years down the line. Some of them they might not even ever know about. So we talk about short-term benefits of movement that people are going to see after the 10-minute walk or whatever intervention that you're doing, and that sense of achievement, that reduced stress level, etc. So I think that's just, I've put a link in the chat to a language guide that our colleagues in Active Dorset have put together to really help when it talks about physical activity, when you're talking whether that's inactive workforce, so your employees or potentially patients if you are dealing with people outside in the public domain as well. It's a really useful tool. And then lastly, a few people have already mentioned some things that they've sort of hung their physical activity hook on. So Amy was just talking about World Environment Day. We look at what other national days are out there that we can talk about, and they might be useful for you to raise the profile of physical activity in your organisation. So I have just put together one per month, essentially, for you to potentially use. A lot of these are potentially around stress awareness, which I know some of you were talking about stress, World Mental Health Day. Just in September, so in a couple of weeks, we've got National Fitness Day coming up. So that might be a good launch pad for your physical activity communications. October, we've got World Mental Health Day. There's a lot of I think might be time. There's a big like coffee morning essentially as well at the end of September around mental health. Take your coffee on the road. You don't have to sit around and drink your coffee. We have something in our organisation called Coffee Roulette. So we all put our names into a hat and we get drawn different people every month, and we have to go out on the road with our coffees, pound the pavements, and we don't sit down and drink those. So yeah, think about what you're doing already and how you can make that more active. So I'll share this with you, and there's also links at the bottom with lots of different awareness days on. These aren't the only ones, but hopefully as a resource it might help you to think about how you can launch physical activity communications and be part of wider national days and campaigns to bring everyone together and create sort of a more active workforce. I hope that was useful, and we'll make sure that we share the links to everything.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Debbie. Really appreciate that. And yeah, something I should have mentioned earlier as well. If you didn't attend the initial Support to Be Active sessions that we ran back earlier on in the year, they are online, so I will circulate those in the email, as well as the resources that Debbie shared and all of the information that everyone has shared today. But thank you to our guest speakers. Thank you to everyone, all of you, for all of your support. Continue to be bold leaders within this space. As I said, we need help from you guys for you guys to continue to advocate for physical activity. We can't do it on our own. Yeah, I think that's all from us. So thank you very much for coming along. We get in touch with us if you need anything from us, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.